Cristian Rivera was only 6 years old when he passed away from an inoperable brain tumor, but his spirit lives on in the foundation started by his father to help find a cure for this devastating form of cancer. John Gungie, I get it right? Gungie?
That's right.
Rivera is here again. He's the founder of the Cristian Rivera Foundation. You've been here before, and it's good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Good to talk about the work that you're doing, but first let's talk about Cristian and look at some pictures of him. He was 6 years old when you lost him. When did you know something was wrong, John?
When he was 4, he was sort of off balance. His right eye was turning inward, his right hand and right leg, similar to like someone that has a stroke. And he had weakness. That prompted us to start doing due diligence and taking him to all these different centers. And they suggested an MRI, and then we got the worst news of our lives. He had DIPG.
Which
inoperable brain tumor in the pons, no survivors.
So that's a prognosis negative,
Negative,
right?
dismal.
Right.
No survivors, 200 cases in the US each year.
Now, the specific kind is pontine
glioma, diffused intrinsic pontine glioma. It's a brainstem tumor, and in the pons of the brain. So you can't really operate it. There's no way to get in.
Is it hereditary? Does it just happen? Or?
No common denominator.
What do you all do then, John?
Conventional meds. I ventured out and tried some holistic approaches, and I think it was able to extend his life. But when he was diagnosed, we were told that conventionally there was nothing they could do, and we wouldn't see a cure in our lifetime. But we're very close to a cure now. 2012, our trial was FDA approved over at Weill Cornell Medical Center, which is the trial that we fund with Dr. Mark Swedane.
Okay.
And now we have amazing results. We have a little girl who's 5 years, cancer-free, and she's doing fantastic.
She has the same form.
DIPG.
And she's correct. At the hospital. We want to make sure everyone understands that you don't have a daughter. You're referencing a little girl who's being treated through the same meds.
Yes.
That you had. Cristian passed away in 2009, and again he was 6 years old. So with the foundation, how'd you come about creating it? Just to make sure that other families wouldn't have to deal?
Exactly. I saw the tragedy that it caused our family, and I saw the amount of suffering it caused my son, and I said to myself, I have to do something. There's 200 families dealing with this in the US of A, and there's no cure. There's something I have to be able to do. And so I come from the entertainment business, marketing, and so I put my foot forward and began raising funds, creating awareness, and fueling the trial that Dr. Mark Swedane is currently doing right now.
Now tell us about the trial. What does it consist of? You mentioned STEM. Does it involve any sort of stem cell replacement or nothing like that?
It's called CED. They take hairline fibers, they put it right through the brain, right through the blood barrier, and it goes right into the tumor. So the pons is hard. The tumor in the pons is hard to get to.
Okay.
But with these hairline fibers, it goes directly into the tumor, and they inject slowly. They slowly inject the chemotherapy, and the chemotherapy is actually reaching the tumor versus getting washed away by the blood barrier.
So it's going directly into it, thus shrinking the, does it shrink the tumor?
Yes, basically it acts as a cure.
Okay. So you got a little girl who's doing well, with it right now. Let me ask you this. About 200 cases are diagnosed each year?
Yes.
Are they always children, or can it affect adults?
Usually ages 2 to 9.
2 to 9, so we're talking about kids. Does it ever get overshadowed by any of the other more, I don't want to say popular, but known, type cancers? Do you ever feel like when you're having to talk to someone about this specific one that you're having to convince and explain to them what it is because they have never heard of it versus lung cancer or breast cancer?
Absolutely.
How challenging is that?
I've never heard of the disease prior to my son being diagnosed, and so many other people in my circle. And I know so many super intelligent people who even have medical backgrounds, and they've never heard of it. So it's really trying. But creating awareness and funding this research is the way to go. And the progress is paying off. I was told that I wouldn't see a cure in my lifetime when he was diagnosed, and now we're really close.
Let me ask you something. It's been 8 years since you lost Cristian. You know, if you could say how you've changed in between that time versus you, John, then versus you, John, now, what's been the biggest change you think of all the experiences that you've gone through in that 8 years?
My priorities with my career have changed. I've sort of put my career on the back burner to become the advocate in my circle for this disease. And so that's basically how I would say I've changed.
We will put the information up on our website, and as far as the foundation goes, what's that information?
It's CristianRiveraFoundation.org. Cristian doesn't have an H. CristianRiveraFoundation.org.
Okay. Congratulations on the success, and hopefully those 200 cases will be zero, you know, in our lifetimes, because I think we're about the same age, you know. So,
that's
right. Good to see you again, sir.
Good to see you.
All right, coming up, the battle against lung cancer and making sure survivors are winning it. We're going to tell you about this fight when we return.